America's recession crisis is no longer a prediction. It's unfolding right now. In this video, we break down the real signs of a U.S. recession, from soaring debt to accelerating foreclosures, and why experts say the economy is far weaker than Washington admits. Moody's now warns that nearly one-third of U.S. GDP is already in recession territory. Across the country, pension funds are drying up, state budgets are collapsing, credit ratings are slipping, and hundreds of thousands of families are relocating in search of stability. The American dream has become a countdown clock. This isn't a forecast, it's happening in real time. Here are the 12 states falling first as the U.S. enters its most dangerous downturn in decades. Number 10. Colorado. Colorado's economy, once celebrated for its booming tech sector and fast-growing cities, now shows clear signs of strain. The Colorado economy is weakening beneath the scenic skylines of Denver and Boulder, with warning indicators flashing across the Colorado housing market, job sector, and commercial real estate. Home prices remain painfully high, with the median home still near $570,000 compared to a median household income of just $92,000. That mismatch means the average Colorado household would need to spend nearly 46% of take-home pay on a basic mortgage, far above recommended affordability levels. Meanwhile, unemployment has climbed to 4.3%, the highest since early 2021, driven by widespread Colorado layoffs in tech. In 2024 alone, more than 11,000 jobs disappeared from companies like Google, Zoom, and Salesforce after years of pandemic-era overexpansion. The commercial market is deteriorating even faster. Downtown Denver, commercial real estate vacancies have surged above 31%, a state record, with landlords slashing rents by up to 40% to keep buildings occupied. Commercial property values have fallen 25% since 2022, and business loan delinquencies have doubled in just 12 months. Colorado's budget outlook is equally troubling. A projected $1.6 billion shortfall in 2026 stems from falling income tax revenue and rising pension costs. The state's Public Employees Retirement Association now carries $35 billion in unfunded liabilities, a major fiscal risk. Even tourism, long a stabilizing force, is slipping, with 2024 visitor spending down 7% and ski traffic down 10%. Rural areas are feeling the pain too. Foreclosure rates in counties like Pueblo and Mesa are approaching 1 in every 310 homes, among the highest in the Mountain West. In short, the Colorado recession is forming beneath the surface. An overheated housing market, weakening job base, and collapsing commercial demand threaten to send the Centennial State's economy sliding fast. Number 9. Alaska. The Alaska economy has always been powered by oil, but in 2025 that dependence has become an existential threat. Nearly 40% of Alaska's operating budget comes from petroleum revenue, yet the state's break-even price sits at $76 per barrel. With crude hovering around $71 for months, the government is burning through reserves at unprecedented speed. Alaska now faces a $1.2 billion budget shortfall, and the permanent fund, once the state's greatest source of pride, is being tapped simply to keep payroll running. Federal money accounts for another 40% of total spending, a dangerous vulnerability if Washington cuts funding during a broader Alaska recession. The Alaska population decline is accelerating fast. More than 12,000 residents have left annually for 3 straight years, fleeing to the lower 48 for better jobs and lower living costs. Despite the exodus, the Alaska housing market remains strained. Anchorage's median home price sits at $394,000, while median household income is $86,300, keeping affordability out of reach for many families. The Alaska oil industry continues to shrink. A decade ago, it supported 13,500 workers. Today, fewer than 8,900 remain. Tourism, the state's second economic pillar, fell 9% in 2024, with cruise traffic still below pre-pandemic levels. Home sales have dropped 18% year over year, and inventory has jumped 32% as more residents list properties before leaving. Rural Alaska is suffering the most unemployment, exceeds 8% in several regions, and grocery prices are punishing. Milk at $7.50 a gallon, bread topping $6. Without diversification, the state's famed independence is becoming unsustainable. With declining oil royalties, shrinking tourism, and rapid depopulation, the Alaska economy risks becoming a vast, beautiful, but increasingly empty frontier, an economic ghost of what it once was. Number 8. Mississippi. The Mississippi economy has struggled for decades, but 2025 may mark the moment its fragile foundation begins to break. With the lowest median household income in the nation, just $49,111, Mississippi sits at barely 60% of the U.S. average. The Mississippi poverty rate remains among the highest at 18.1%, meaning nearly 1 in 5 residents lives below the poverty line. Unemployment has risen to 5.2%, and labor force participation is only 55.6%, the lowest in America. Underscoring how vulnerable the state is as a Mississippi recession looms, Mississippi's dependence on federal funding is another major red flag. Roughly 46% of the state's entire budget comes from Washington. If federal spending tightens during a recession, critical lifelines for local governments, public schools, and hospitals could shrink rapidly, triggering cascading financial stress across the state. The Mississippi housing market is showing deteriorating conditions as well. Although median home values sit around $176,000, higher mortgage rates and stagnant wages have stalled demand. Foreclosure filings have surged 32% year over year, especially in Jackson and Greenville. The latter expected to see the steepest home price drop in the nation, projected at 16.6% by mid-2025. Commercial activity is weakening too. Smaller cities report an 18% jump in vacancies as small businesses close under the pressure of record consumer credit card debt. Infrastructure problems compound the crisis. Nearly 28% of Mississippi's bridges are structurally deficient, and state debt per taxpayer is nearing $7,800. Meanwhile, the state's healthcare system is collapsing. 6 rural Mississippi hospitals have shut down since 2020, leaving more than 300,000 residents without nearby emergency care. With deep poverty, low educational attainment, and limited economic diversification, Mississippi is dangerously exposed. If federal aid contracts and inflation keeps eroding household budgets, many small towns could face not just a recession, but a full-scale economic unraveling. Number 7. Louisiana. The Louisiana economy has been stagnant for decades, but in 2025 the tide is turning sharply against it. With 50% of the state budget dependent on federal funding and a Louisiana poverty rate of 19%, the state is now one of the most financially fragile in America. Median household income sits at just $56,000, even as the cost of essentials, rent, insurance, and utilities has surged 14% in a single year. The New Orleans housing market has become the worst performing in the United States. Home prices have fallen 7.1% year over year, with another 5.8% drop expected by mid-2025. In Orleans Parish, the median price has fallen to $245,000, while the average days on market have jumped from 41 to 74. Statewide, Louisiana foreclosures are up 34%, with 1 in every 402 homes now in distress. The Louisiana oil and gas industry, long the backbone of the state's economy, is weakening rapidly. Energy sector employment has fallen 11% since 2022, as volatile crude prices and tightening federal environmental regulations drive investors elsewhere. Meanwhile, insurance premiums have exploded. After storms like Ida and Laura generated more than $20 billion in claims, several insurers withdrew from the state entirely, leaving homeowners with unaffordable coverage, or none at all. Commercial real estate is also crumbling. Office vacancy rates have hit 23% in Baton Rouge and 25% in Shreveport, while retail vacancies stand at 11%, the highest level in 2 decades. Louisiana's public pension system carries $18.9 billion in unfunded liabilities, and the projected 2026 deficit exceeds $1.3 billion. The state now faces a perfect storm of climate risk, economic stagnation, insurance collapse, and political gridlock. Once the heartbeat of the Gulf, Louisiana is at real risk of becoming the first Deep South state to face true financial insolvency. Number 6. New Mexico. The New Mexico economy sits at a dangerous intersection of federal dependency and volatile energy markets, a combination that becomes catastrophic during a New Mexico recession. Nearly 43% of the state's budget depends on federal funding, while about 30% of its GDP is tied directly to the New Mexico oil and gas industry. When both sectors weaken, the entire economic structure begins to shake. More than 22,000 New Mexico federal jobs face exposure to layoffs, hiring freezes, or contract cuts. Analysts warn that even a 10% reduction in federal contracts could instantly erase 3% of the state's GDP. Meanwhile, oil price instability has devastated fiscal projections. In 2024, oil royalty revenue fell 18%, forcing Santa Fe to anticipate a $900 million budget deficit heading into 2026. The New Mexico housing market is deteriorating quickly. Albuquerque home prices, now around $327,000, have dropped 9% since 2023, while inventory has surged nearly 25%. Foreclosure filings have doubled in 1 year, and mortgage delinquency rates now sit at 4.8%, among the highest in the Southwest. Households are under severe pressure. The New Mexico poverty rate is 18.4%, and the median household income of $61,000 can't keep up with rising rents, grocery prices, and utility costs. Employment growth has stalled at just 0.4%. Youth unemployment exceeds 9%, and violent crime rates, already 70% above the national average, are discouraging outside investment. Even the state's pension system is weakening, burdened with $14.6 billion in unfunded liabilities and only 62% funded. Tourism, film production, and manufacturing, once seen as promising diversification strategies, all contracted in 2024 as consumer demand softened. With falling oil revenue, extreme federal reliance, and rising living costs, New Mexico's economy has become one of the most vulnerable in the nation, sustained less by growth than by subsidies and optimism. Number 5. Nevada. The Nevada economy is cooling faster than any state in America, marking a dramatic end to its post-pandemic boom. Built on tourism, construction, real estate speculation, and gaming revenue, Nevada now faces a dangerous convergence of rising debt, falling demand, and weakening job growth. Conditions that signal a deepening Nevada recession. Foreclosure filings have surged to 1 in every 326 homes, the highest rate in the nation. Nevada unemployment has climbed to 5.4%, up sharply from 3.9% just a year ago. The Las Vegas housing market, once the hottest in the West, is now leading the nation in property distress. Inventory has exploded nearly 45% year over year, the steepest rise in over a decade. Median home prices have already slipped 2.2%, and analysts warn of another 10 to 12% drop as tourism slows and layoffs increase. Nevada's dependence on volatile tax streams is amplifying the downturn. Gaming revenue, responsible for 42% of the state's general budget, is down 8% compared to 2022. Commercial real estate is deteriorating rapidly. Office vacancies have hit 24%, and loan delinquencies have jumped 38% in a single year. Households are feeling intense financial strain. The average mortgage payment in Las Vegas now exceeds $2,780 per month, while the median household income is only $78,000. More than 43% of take-home pay is going toward housing, far above safe affordability levels. Credit card delinquencies have reached a record 5.9%. Tourism, the state's lifeline, is faltering as well. Visitor numbers are down 7%, and convention bookings have plunged 15% as companies slash travel budgets. Construction jobs have dropped 12%, and Clark County has more than 14,000 vacant homes stuck on the market. Statewide tax revenue fell 6.3% in 2024, prompting warnings of a $1 billion shortfall by 2026. The mirage of prosperity is fading fast, exposing a Nevada economy stretched thin by speculation and over-reliance on luck. Nevada's fall won't be quiet, It will be swift, visible, and painful. Number 4. Illinois. The Illinois economy isn't just struggling, it's structurally broken. Decades of mismanagement, corruption, and pension abuse have left the state facing a fiscal crisis that threatens residents and businesses alike. Every Illinois taxpayer effectively owes $38,800 just to cover existing debt, while unfunded pension obligations have soared to $172.8 billion, ranking the state 48th in the nation for fiscal health. The 2026 budget deficit is projected between $3.2 billion and $5.1 billion, with no easy path forward. Illinois' public pension crisis is particularly dire. The teachers' retirement system, once the backbone of the state's workforce, is only 34% funded and risks running dry within 2 decades, leaving tens of thousands of retired educators vulnerable. Meanwhile, Chicago, the state's economic engine, is under severe strain. Property taxes have surged 16% since 2021. Violent crime is up 34% over 5 years, and office vacancy rates have climbed to 18.8%, with commercial rents falling from $34 to $27.30 per square foot. Nearly 1,976 bank-owned properties sit idle in the metro area, the highest in the nation. Illinois' population continues to shrink, with 84,000 residents leaving in 2024 alone, further reducing tax revenue and deepening the debt spiral. Household incomes have stagnated since 2019, while electricity costs remain 18% above the national average. Raising taxes risks accelerating migration, and cutting spending could trigger defaults on already promised obligations. With a collapsing tax base, mounting debt, and stagnant economic growth, Illinois stands as a warning for other states. When the next recession tightens credit markets, Illinois could face a fiscal meltdown unlike anything seen since the Great Depression, a collapse driven not by politics, but by mathematics. Number 3. Florida. The Florida economy has shifted from explosive growth to a slow-motion unraveling. After 3 years of record migration and unprecedented construction, the Florida housing market is revealing severe structural cracks. Florida now holds 9 of the 15 most overvalued housing markets in the country. Cities like Tampa, plus 42%, Cape Coral, plus 37%, and Northport, plus 40%, are all priced far beyond sustainable levels, signaling a growing Florida real estate bubble statewide. The median home price sits at $417,000, yet the median household income is only $67,917. To afford a typical mortgage at a 7% interest rate, families would need to earn nearly $120,000, far above what most Floridians make. Foreclosures are surging. 1 in every 242 homes is in default, the second worst rate in the nation. Lakeland now suffers the highest foreclosure rate in America, with 1 in every 172 homes at risk. The Florida insurance crisis is making the situation even more unstable. After Hurricane Ian's $112.9 billion in damages, insurance premiums have soared more than 45% since 2022. Homeowners now pay an average of $6,000 per year, triple the national average. Major insurers like Farmers and A have pulled out of the state entirely, leaving millions scrambling for coverage as Citizens, the state-backed insurer, becomes overloaded. Florida's rental market is weakening as well. Vacancy rates have climbed to 10%, and HOA fees are up 15% year over year. Meanwhile, income growth has stalled. Job expansion slowed to just 0.8%, while inflation remains elevated at 4.2%. Tourism revenue is down 6%, and the hospitality sector shed 18,000 jobs in 2024. Despite strong population numbers, the Florida recession risks are growing fast. Overvalued homes, collapsing insurance markets, and slowing migration mean investors who bought in 2022 could face losses of 30% to 40%. The Sunshine State's boom is fading into a mirage. Number 2. California. The California economy, once the 5th largest in the world, is now facing unprecedented strain. The state confronts a record $58 billion budget deficit, the largest in its history, forcing officials to pull $12 billion from reserves just to maintain basic operations. California's housing crisis is intensifying. The median home price now stands at $825,000, requiring an income of $237,000 to afford, while the actual median household income is only $96,500. Monthly mortgage payments average $5,900, consuming 36% of income, the highest in the nation. Unemployment has climbed to 5.5%, and in 2024 alone, 239,000 residents left the state, the largest domestic migration loss in America. Meanwhile, California carries $244.9 billion in unfunded pension liabilities and $20 billion in unemployment debt. Public schools face a $5 billion funding gap, and Silicon Valley tax revenues have plunged 21% as tech profits decline. The California commercial real estate market is collapsing. Office vacancies hit 28.8% in San Francisco and 22% in Los Angeles, while statewide commercial foreclosures now exceed 187 per month. Nearly 30% of the national total iconic properties, such as the LA Gas Company Tower, have lost two-thirds of their value. Homelessness has surged past 181,000, and median rent in Los Angeles is now $2,950. Energy costs remain 42% above the national average, with utility bills rising 11% in 2024. The combination of fiscal mismanagement, soaring debt, overregulation, and a housing affordability crisis has turned California into a warning sign for the nation. Its economy is still massive, but like its eroding cliffs, it's crumbling fast, one collapse at a time. Number 1. New Jersey. The New Jersey economy is teetering on the edge of collapse. Facing a fiscal crisis unlike any other state in America, state auditors report that New Jersey has just 2 days of operating reserves, the lowest safety cushion in the nation. Every taxpayer effectively owes $44,500 to keep the state functioning, while unfunded liabilities now exceed $220 billion. The largest pension fund, the Teachers' Retirement System, is only 34.7% funded, making it the weakest major pension plan in the country. Despite repeated tax increases, debt continues to grow. The 2026 fiscal outlook predicts a $5.3 billion deficit, and even the state's rainy day fund could evaporate in a single quarter if revenues dip by just 5%. The New Jersey housing market compounds the risk. The state has the second highest foreclosure rate in the nation, with 1 in every 359 homes in default, 1 in 200 in Atlantic City. Median home prices soared 19% year over year to $539,000, creating a classic housing bubble, even as inventory rises and mortgage rates hover near 7%. Commercial real estate is also under pressure, with office vacancies in the Newark Jersey City corridor exceeding 19.4% and 42 foreclosures hitting the commercial sector monthly. Meanwhile, residents struggle under the nation's highest property taxes, $9,800 per household per year. Along with energy costs 33% above the national average and insurance premiums up 12% in 2024. Small businesses are suffocating under regulation, infrastructure is crumbling, and economic growth barely keeps pace, with GDP rising only 0.7%. The Garden State is caught in a paradox: high incomes paired with even higher obligations. When the next recession hits, New Jersey won't just face a budget shortfall, it faces an existential fiscal implosion, decades in the making.